All right, so we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to the Dribble and Drive podcast. I'm Jack.
My name's Anthony. Welcome back.
Yeah, so we're back for some NFL. We're recapping Week 9, right? Or Week 10?
Week 10.
Okay, recapping Week 10, going into Week 11. What are your takeaways from this week? There was some good games, some very good games. The Steelers-Commanders, that was a good game.
Yeah, we had a lot of good games. That Bengals-Ravens game on Thursday kicked off the week. A few good 1 o'clock games with the Steelers, Commanders, Broncos, Chiefs as well. And then also closed it out with Lions, Texans. That was a hell of a game Sunday night.
Yeah.
And then that Monday Night Football, the Dolphins were able to get back on track. I don't know if it was a great game, but I don't know. It was
disappointing game in my opinion. Tua, I mean, it's the same thing with both of these teams. The Rams, I was kind of hoping they could elevate, but they haven't taken that step. Even with Kupp and Nakua, the offense didn't look like it did in a game like they did against the Vikings. They were high-powered.
Kyron Williams didn't really give you much.
No, and the offensive line's banged up. I'm sure that's a big reason why. But, I mean, these teams, just not at the level that we hoped for them coming into the season. I kind of was a little bit lower on these teams, so that's kind of panned out. But, I mean, these are supposed to be high-flying offenses, high-powered offenses at the top of the league. But 23-15, neither defense is playing the best football, so kind of underwhelming from both teams.
Yeah, and I think if you're the Rams, that really hurts. That's with the Arizona Cardinals winning a game, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You kind of gotta win every game you can
to
stay in this
really
thing.
Do.
And to drop one versus the 2-6 Dolphins
it's not inspiring.
Yeah,
absolutely not. And then the Lions Texans, that game, what a game! Goff 5 picks, and they still come out with the W.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I don't. That's a tale of two halves, but, the takeaway from that for me is, C.J. Stroud, you gotta find a way.
You gotta
find a way to close that game out.
You gotta.
5 turnovers, they gave you the ball. I mean, you just gotta, that interception he threw in the end zone when he had that guy wide open, that was
bad.
After that, you kind of, had a feeling, you're like, oh my, are they going to lose?
Yeah.
Are they really going to give this lead up? And
they had such an opportunity in front of them, and they just blew it. 19 for 33, 2 picks. He's kind of playing himself out of that top 5 quarterback conversation. Coming into the year after last season, I was thinking it was Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, Stroud, not in that order. But, I mean, Herbert.
It's first half alone, he looks like a top 5 quarterback.
He does.
And then second half.
But then these things happen, and you end up 19 for 33 with multiple picks to only 1 touchdown. And it's you didn't get the greatest game from Mixon, all right. But you're C.J. Stroud. I mean, I know your receivers are banged up, but you still have talent out there on that field. And, I mean, you got to get this win. You get the ball 5 times. Jared Goff throws it to your defense, and you can't put up 2 touchdowns. Really? Really uninspiring for the Texans.
Yeah, no, I'm going through and looking at all their wins right here, and it looks like every win besides the Patriots game, they've either they've only won by 3 or 4 points every game,
That's
and they're
insane.
winning by 3 points. They win by 3 versus the Colts. They lose to the Jets. They lose to the Packers. They beat the Jaguars by 4. They get smoked by the Vikings. They beat the Bears by 6. The Colts by 2. It's just not convincing.
No, not at all. They beat the Colts twice, in lesser fashion than they were supposed to. The Bears was a disappointing win. Got blown up by the Vikings, beaten by the Packers, the Bills. I mean, Josh Allen was asking you to win that game, 9 for 30, and you barely win the game by 3?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. What are you doing?
And I know
you said, the Patriots were the only convincing win, and that's the New England Patriots. And Drake made his first start. So, no quality wins and a number of losses that you shouldn't have lost. So, really, really underwhelming season from C.J. Stroud and the Texans. I'm still a big Stroud fan, but, I mean, I know you're banged up, but this is not what you want to see.
They've only put up 30 points once.
Nah, that's not good. That's not good.
And this is one they talk about them they're one of the premier offenses in the league, And I get they've been banged up with, like, Mixon out earlier in the season, and then now you got Diggs out. But, like, they still got plenty of options and weapons to make plays.
Absolutely. You got Dell. Collins is coming back, and he's been there for some of the season. But, I mean, your defense is still pretty healthy. Like, you got to win these games. You got to beat the Lions. You got to beat the Texans. And, I mean, outside of that, there's nothing. There's nothing that you're looking to that's a quality win. Like, the Patriots are not a quality win. Sorry, barely beating the Bears in Caleb's second start, not a quality win. The Colts and the Jaguars in the division, not quality wins. The Bills game was not a quality win. Really disappointing. They play the Cowboys, and I mean, that's a game you have to win. Then you get the Titans and the Jaguars. It's a game you have to win. We'll see how they've got 3 games in December. Dolphins in Houston, then the Chiefs in Kansas City and the Ravens in Houston. So I mean, those 3 games will be extremely telling, but I think we already know what this team is. Maybe a playoff team, but not a team that's really going to, fight for a Super Bowl, fight to get into the Super Bowl. At least not this year.
Yeah, and I could picture them just sneaking in, with that. Maybe they'll be the 4 or the 3 seed just because they'll win their division, just because their division's not great.
But that's the standard even.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, early projection, they go, like, first round exit.
Yeah,
like
they definitely should.
This team doesn't look like they have the material, and like I wish, like earlier in the season, like Mixon, like he's a good running back. I thought they were gonna be able to, and he just hasn't really. He's been underwhelming.
He's been inconsistent.
Yeah,
like he's had some splashes of hope, some good games, some good plays, but overall,
and they got a solid offensive line there.
They do. They really do. Maybe a little bit banged up, like struggling a little bit, but not to the point where like this should be happening. Yeah. Stroud's got to step it up 100%. Mixon's got to play better, more consistently. You can't run for, 1.8 yards against the Lions. You can't do it. Aaron Glenn's a great defensive coordinator. He's going to get a head coaching job. He should next season.
Yeah.
But, you can't do that if you're the Texans. That's a game you need to win, and they didn't.
Yeah, no, and even when that game was tied, like, the Lions, like, honestly could have won this game by 10 points if they really, like in that second half. Like, there was one time where they got the ball probably on the Lions side of the field, on the Texans side of the field, and they turned it right. Remember, they turned it right back over, and it was like
quarterbacks were just playing pick for pick. Like, here, you can have the ball. No, I don't want the ball. You have it.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, what's going on here? So, yeah, really underwhelming from the Texans. I don't think I was on the line of, like, are the Texans contenders or are they pretenders? They're pretenders, absolutely. And they're going to have those 3 games in December against the Dolphins, Chiefs, and Ravens to prove themselves, but it's not going to. Yeah. It's not going to go any better.
Yeah, looks like we're fading the Texans going into the
we're fading
the season
them.
Here.
We are fading the Houston Texans. Even getting Nico Collins back, I'm not buying it. What else? The Cardinals killed the Jets. The Eagles killed the Cowboys. The Cowboys, man.
Can we actually? I wanted to stay in the division.
Yeah, definitely.
Because right on the Lions' heels are the Vikings.
Oh.
Kind of had a.
Yep.
They had a not great win.
Not so impressive win.
They just pulled it out. I don't know.
I'm telling you, man, Sam Darnold is not the guy, and we all know that.
Yeah,
but
they're just sitting 1 game behind Detroit, which is wild,
insane. 7-2 with a quarterback that's throwing 3 picks multiple times in the games.
I want to say we were sitting here a few weeks ago saying the Vikings could easily be 9-1.
They could be. If even with a rookie JJ McCarthy, you'd figure they may be better. Like Sam Darnold, 3 picks against the Jaguars, 2 picks against the Colts. That's 10 on the season. Really holding this team back. They lost Christian Darrisaw, an elite left tackle for the season. They went and traded for one. Cam Robinson, he's been performing. But Darnold, he just can't hold on to the ball. He can't keep the ball in the Vikings' hands. He can't lead touchdown drives consistently. It's disappointing. He's holding talent back.
But looking at the schedule, I just still think with their coach, he finds a way to win games.
Absolutely.
What's his name? O'Connell?
O'Connell.
Yeah.
Elite coach.
He just finds a way to win games, and no matter who he has or the pieces he has, he just finds a way. And looking at the schedule, they got the Titans and the Bears coming up the next 2 weeks.
Those should be wins.
I think they'll win those games, even if they aren't pretty. They'll win those games. And, they got Falcons, they got the Bears again, they got the Seahawks. Like, these guys, like, could be one of the, I don't want to say the worst teams, but definitely not a great offensive team that, honestly, like, not even great on either side of the ball. Nothing really pops off the paper, but they just find a way to win.
They do.
And, like, that was it, like, a few years ago, too, when they won all those games with Cousins and Jefferson. They just found a way to win.
Kevin O'Connell, man, he's a top 5 head coach in football.
Yeah.
It all comes back to, like, I think Jefferson and Addison are great. Aaron Jones is great. The O-line and the defense are great. It's the quarterback. I mean, you got Hawkinson, too. Like, the quarterback's just holding this team back. 12-7 against the Jaguars. Your defense is keeping the Jaguars under 10 points. They kept the Colts to 13 the week before. I mean, your defense is winning these games for you. It's just Sam Darnold. I mean, you should be winning them by a lot more, especially with the offensive talent you have. You should be a top 5 offense in football. But Darnold is keeping them from that.
Yeah.
So until they can get J.J. McCarthy going, J.J. McCarthy, he's going to, take time to develop as well. So
yeah, who knows?
it's kind of a weird situation. I think most of the roster's ready to win right now, but the quarterback position just isn't there. Past the deadline, they're not making a move for Stafford or anyone, which I don't think they should. But there was rumors about that. Worth throwing out there.
I still think they ride it, like, depending on how the result ends up. They still, you know what I mean? They still...
Yeah.
Like,
they don't blow anything
They might
up.
be down on Darnold right now, but if he ends up winning them a playoff game or something, like, they could be like, all right, we're bringing this guy back. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
You could. But at the same... For me, it's just like... Maybe he's probably going to stay, but as the bridge, probably. He's probably not going to start over McCarthy long term, right?
No.
Yeah. So we'll see when that happens. It's only a matter...
Maybe, like, there'll be a year, like a
bridge year.
Yeah.
A gap year, just kind of fitting in there.
Because, like, McCarthy's, like, rookie season is going to be next season, so...
Yeah, so, I mean, it's going to take a lot of time to develop. Maybe you'd rather have Darnold in there.
Yeah.
You never know what you can win with it. Also, the Steelers... What game do you want to get into next? We can talk about the Steelers-Commanders. The Cardinals killed the Jets. Not much to talk about there. The Eagles killed the Cowboys. We can talk about them a little.
Yeah, let's do the Steelers-Commanders.
Word. Russell Wilson... 14 for 28, but he hits those deep balls that Fields couldn't, and it's taken the team over the top. This is a quality win. The defense balled, held Jaden Daniels to a 50% completion rate. But, it was still a really good game offensively from the Commanders. They were able to get the ball in the end zone multiple times, put points on the board. But, the Steelers, just overall the better team, I guess.
I saw this stat. I'm sure maybe you did too. The Commanders were 7-0 versus teams under 500. 0-3 versus teams over 500.
Wow. So they're struggling against good teams.
So
that's interesting.
They beat bad teams, but they haven't beaten teams that are good.
What I will say is they did beat the Bengals. They're not a 500 team. That is, a quality team to beat under 500 at least.
Yeah.
Trying to pull up the rest of their schedule. They're going to be faced with a tough one against the Eagles in Philly tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football. That should be a great game.
I think that's a huge win for the Steelers, though. It, like, legitimizes Russell Wilson and, like, him in that offense and what Mike Tomlin's doing. And, like, people were calling for, like, Mike Tomlin to be fired over the summer.
That's insane.
All on social media. They're like, oh, he's a 500 coach. Nothing
That's
without
insane.
Big Ben. Like, I don't know, man. Like,
he has not had...
I think he's sticking it to him right now.
He's elite. He has not had quality quarterback play since prime Big Ben, which was almost 10 years ago. And, he hasn't missed the playoffs, or he hasn't gone under 500, so...
Yeah, and I get some of the criticism, but the people calling for him for his job, it's like, come on.
It's insane.
The Steelers, they know what they're doing, and it's pretty clear. Like,
exactly.
Big win after big win.
It's a top 5 defense led by T.J. Watt year after year. It's just the offensive side of the ball of things. Can they run the football effectively? Can they pass the ball effectively? They've been able to run it.
Like, I'm still a little skeptical, but, like, hey, you can't dispute, like, wins and losses.
Can't.
So, like, but, like, the Cowboys beat them early in the season. The Colts, so I don't know. It's, like, just, like...
I think, the Commanders are a team with a rookie quarterback and not so great of a defense. So they're definitely not perfect. Like, it's not like they beat the Chiefs. But, this is a quality win that you can't argue with.
No.
like it's probably the best win of their season. They beat the Falcons in their first game. They beat the Broncos in their second game, 13 points on the board. Beat the Chargers, who only put 10 points on the board, and I believe Justin Herbert was injured in that game.
That's like Russell Wilson's first big win.
Yeah, right.
Steeler too.
Exactly. Like they beat the Jets, but I mean that's the Jets. Like this is the first really quality win of the season. They've played really bad teams overall. They play the Ravens on Sunday.
Yeah, that'll be a test.
That'll be a test. Can they, feast on that weak secondary, that weak pass defense in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Can they get by that?
Baltimore only favored 3 points, so it should be a close game.
Yep. Steelers are an elite defense. It's a division game. They always give the Ravens a run for their money. If they can stop the run, I feel like the way you beat the Ravens is you stop their run game, and that closes things up downfield for Lamar. When the Ravens
they literally just played the closest thing to Lamar.
Last
week. Right?
Exactly. So they get a test. They beat him, and now you got to play Lamar. If you can stop the run game, which T.J. Watt and that defense can do better than most other teams, especially in the division, it's all about their offense. Can they shred the Ravens' weak pass defense? I think they can. I think this may be a play to go with the Steelers.
Steelers at home.
At home, I mean. Doesn't get much better than that of a matchup for the Steelers, but yeah, I'm probably going to take the Steelers in that one.
Yeah, after they burned you last week, right?
No, I didn't do that.
Oh.
What ended up burning me was the Falcons. Literally, I had the Lions too. I had the Lions minus 2.5.
I had them in a 6-leg parlay, and they were the only that lost.
I think the Falcons were the only thing that lost for me, which really sucks, but whatever.
So the Falcons, how are they looking in that division?
I mean, that's not an inspiring loss. 23 for 38 from Kirk with a pick. Bijan Robinson, though, I mean that's something to be happy about. He's been balling, been one of the best running backs in football for the past 5 or 6 weeks. Been very consistent, very efficient, putting up high numbers and touchdowns. So that's something. But this isn't a game you want to lose. It's in the division.
Tampa hanging around 2 games behind you.
This isn't a game you can lose. This isn't a game you can just spare. I mean, you can't put up 17 points on a struggling Saints defense. Supposed to be good. They've got talent, but they just traded Lattimore away, and they're struggling in comparison to what we thought they were going to be.
Yeah, they just fired their coach. That was make or break that week. You could have come in there and smoked them.
Absolutely should have.
Yeah, the defense just didn't look good at all, right? The defense just let them storm down the field.
Horrible.
And they couldn't put the ball in the end zone. And Koo missed 3 field goals,
right? He's been a problem. Yeah. He's been a problem all of a sudden, which is crazy because he's been one of the best kickers in the league for the past few years. One of the best.
I know. Yeah, he was one of the guys.
Absolutely. So. One of the guys you draft in fantasy. So, really underwhelming there, but all 3 facets of the football, Kirk was 23 for 38 with a pick. Didn't put the ball in the end zone. Robinson was the only way they could get in the end zone. So, I mean, they started out slow. Didn't score a point in the first quarter. Didn't finish well. Didn't score a point in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that division is not good.
Not great coaching from the Falcons and not a great division. I don't think a playoff win comes out of that division unless the Falcons, end up playing somebody.
Yeah.
Depending on who comes out in that 5 seed. I mean, it's probably going to be the Eagles or the Commanders. They're probably going to get pieced.
We've labeled 2 divisions that won't get a playoff win.
Yep.
The AFC South and the NFC South. The South. We don't like the South, I guess.
Will the AFC North even get a playoff win? Because I don't think the Bengals are going to get in there. The Ravens' pass defense is looking really rough. The Steelers' offense, I mean, how's that going to fare in the playoffs?
They'll find one. That, one of those teams will win the wild card game.
Absolutely. I agree. And then the Chiefs, nobody else outside of them. Then the Bills, nobody else outside of them in the AFC. So the AFC is really down to the Bills, the Chiefs, the Steelers, and the Ravens.
Yeah.
Those are the top 4 teams in the AFC. You can't completely count out the Texans or the Bengals, especially with the Texans struggling. I mean, I don't think they're contenders. That's kind of what I'm saying. They can get in the playoffs. Who knows? I mean, they could somehow miraculously pull out a win. But the 4 teams I'm looking at in the AFC as contenders are the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Steelers.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I mean...
Yeah, Could the Chargers make like a sneaky?
I mean, all of a sudden they're 6-3.
Yeah,
Herbert's had a phenomenal season.
We haven't talked about them at all, but like they could look make a sneaky like run.
They're past. They could. Their past 3 games are the Titans, the Browns, and the Saints. The Titans only scored 17, held the Browns to 10, held the Saints to 8, put up 26, 27, and 27 in those games. Like, not impressive wins. Like these are teams you're supposed to beat, but they're beating them.
Yeah.
They lost to the Cardinals. That was probably, the low point of their season because it was like a chance to kind of beat somebody with a high-flying offense.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they couldn't put points on the board.
Yeah, and that loss looks better now,
Absolutely.
With Arizona on top of their division. So
I think it's just a matter of, like, can they get the ball in the end zone? Like, they can play good football on both sides of the football for the most part. But, can they put the ball in the end zone? Against really good teams. Like, against the Chiefs, you can only do it once. But, I mean, you never know. Like, the Chargers are a team in the AFC West.
Yeah, and I don't really watch them, so I don't know really.
I mean, who's
too much
watching
about
the Chargers?
Them. Yeah.
Who's watching the Chargers? Like, they're a fun team, but at the same time, they're not a team you're excited to turn on over a bunch of other teams. Like,
they got Ladd McConkey there.
Ladd McConkey, Quentin Johnson. He had a good start to the season.
Okay.
We'll see how. I mean, they probably need another receiver next year.
Is Alt like a sick O-lineman?
He's struggled at times, but he's also had some really good rips.
Okay.
Some really good reps. I think he's really.
I remember I was like, the Patriots. We should just take a sick lineman.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I love the May pick, but that's
Yeah.
You can't argue with picking Joe Alt. Like, get a franchise left tackle, and he's playing the right tackle. Got Slater on the other side. That's why I'm so high on the Chargers for the future. You got those 2 elite tackles, Harbaugh, an elite head coach, Herbert, an elite quarterback. Like, you build around that. You put a good defense around that.
Yeah.
Get 2 decent receivers, and you're good. You're a Super Bowl contender all of a sudden.
So, I wanted to shift gears here. Speaking of quarterbacks, what do you think is going on in Chicago?
I mean, I think it's a combination of things. Shane Waldron, I think he needed to be fired. I didn't like the hire.
Yeah.
You saw Jackson Smith and Jigba talking bad about him.
Yeah.
From that moment, I was like, all right, this is not going to be a good hire. Like, the offense in Seattle looks so inconsistent, so I'm not surprised, and I like the firing. But also, like, Caleb hasn't been perfect. He's holding on to the ball super long.
Yeah.
27 sacks on extended dropbacks of more than 4 seconds. He leads the NFL. 9 sacks against the Pats. No other QB had more than 3. 19 sacks when the O-line recorded pass block win. Leads the NFL. He leads the NFL with 15 sacks in 2 games. So, like, it's a combination of things. That's also on Caleb. But at the same time, the offensive line has been so poor. Like, so poor.
That's where I'm at. I'm at the fact, like, hey, like, I get, like, coaching does play a role in a factor, but this guy's also throwing balls at people's feet, or he's like, rolling out to roll out of the pocket, and he's taking 10-yard sacks still, and you're just like, bro, have we not learned, improved at all, even over 8 weeks?
Absolutely.
Weeks?
Like, you got to get better. You got to, be serviceable. You got to be serviceable and make the best of what you have. But, I mean, both things can be true. The offensive line has struggled, and he has struggled. And, like, when you put a rookie quarterback out there behind a bad offensive line, it kind of trains them to be nervous. So, like, that's why I was weary of May going into the Pats situation behind that O-line. But at the same time, May's made it look better. He's done a really good job. So you're looking for that from Caleb. But at the same time, both things can be true. The offensive line is kind of screwing him over. But, I mean, yeah, right? You got to make good of what you have. You got to be serviceable. You got to be better. Drake May's done that. Caleb hasn't.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting dynamic.
And because, like, I have, like, a few Bears fans in my life.
Yeah.
And they're adamant it's the coaching. And that it's Eberflus. And it's not the quarterback. And I'm sitting here thinking, Washington, I know they brought in a new coach, Dan Quinn, this year, but they've been perennially terrible for, like, a long time. We've been really bad in New England here for a long time. I don't like the coach here. And you know what? The quarterback came in and he's still making plays because guess what? These guys either can play or they can't.
Right.
And, like, I feel like you're kind of, like, at the point with Caleb now, like, people are, like, I just feel like people are fed up. They're just like, I don't know. Like, they're, like, blaming the offensive coordinator, but not really looking at, like, hey, like, this guy, he's got to be better.
Right. Like, my thing with it is that Eberflus has led a great defense back-to-back years. Like, Eberflus isn't the problem. Waldron wasn't. I mean, sure, is he hired under Eberflus? Yes. But Waldron came from Seattle. Like, he's not Eberflus's offensive coordinator. So Eberflus can go get somebody else. I think he deserves another shot with another offensive coordinator himself handpicked. I didn't like Waldron going into it, like I said. But at the same time, like you're saying, Caleb does deserve a plethora of the blame. I think blame needs to go to the offensive coordinator, the quarterback, and the offensive line. All three are at fault. All three need to be better. So you get a better coordinator. Caleb, I mean,
like, what's up with this attitude? Like,
right?
Like players on the team can't stand him, and that's not like an accident because, like, I don't know, like, you come into the league, like, people think you're this dude, you think you're this dude, and then like you kind of have some rocky starts,
right.
And like you got people bitching at you on the sideline now and all this stuff, and it's like, oh my gosh, like what is happening?
Yep.
So I don't.
53% completion percentage against the Pats, 54 against the Cardinals, 42 against the Commanders, and that's being generous, rounding up. Not impressive. I mean,
he's got to look himself in the mirror because I feel like these guys, Drake May's making plays with nothing around him.
Yeah.
People saying the coaching's no good.
Exactly. Like, you got to make good of your situation. You got to make it better if you're really that guy.
This guy's a turnoff to like the rest of his teammates and the fans too.
Yeah.
Now, like, they're sort of like kind of being like, all right, can't be acting like this and then going out here and playing like this.
Brings a weird personality. Got a little bit of toxicity to him. Like, he's very weird. He's very unfamiliar to this NFL.
That team there, when Fields was there, even though they like weren't the most talented, that team, like, the fans knew, like, hey, that guy was going to fight for us every week. You know, like Fields, it might not be the result we want, but that guy's gonna take some big hits and do this. Where like.
He wants to win. He wants to be here and win for us. The fans are behind him. Obviously, it didn't work. He had Caleb on the draft board, but like, the fans were ready to die for Justin Fields. DJ Moore, he was going to war and supporting Justin Fields. Like, it's a different environment. Oh, breaking news: the Colts have gone back to Anthony Richardson as the starting quarterback. Yes, sir. I love that.
Well, as we were just saying, no team in that division's going to playoff games, so that doesn't matter. But
I love it because Flacco's looked so bad, and Anthony Richardson, while he hasn't looked good, he hasn't been the most accurate, he hasn't been the best decision maker. I mean, that 10 for 31 game, there were so many perfect balls that were just dropped. Multiple touchdowns were dropped. He's not the best, but he's the rawest, biggest project quarterback we've seen as a prospect. And they're benching him after 9 games in an ACL tear. Like, this dude's going to take another year. Like, you got to go through another year before you're getting what you want out of Anthony Richardson. That's what the Colts don't understand. Like, I get hate towards AR. I get he has been tremendously inaccurate, not a good decision maker. But you got to sit him in there behind an elite offensive line. You got him and Taylor behind an offensive line that's elite. That should be an automatic top 5 rushing attack. And then you let him drop back on third down. You let him use his legs, and you let him get comfortable as a passer. And
they got what's his name out there too, Downs, right?
Downs, Pierce, Pittman, Adonai Mitchell. Like, this is a talented team. Like I said, the offensive line's the biggest part of it. Shane Steichen, the coach, the guy that made Jalen Hurts work, a similar prospect. And like I said, the most important part of it, you're behind an elite offensive line with a backfield of Jonathan Taylor and Anthony Richardson. I'm sorry, put me as the coach. That's an automatic top 5 rushing attack. Like, come on. Like, and then let him drop back on third down short and let him pass.
And they got I like the week they're doing this because, like, the season's not over. You still have, like, playoff hopes. Ideally, you know, it's not really
also
probably going to come to fruition, but hey, you have hopes.
Exactly. You're holding on to it.
It's versus the Jets. You know, the reeling Jets. Like, you can definitely.
Yeah. And
this is a good game for him to get his confidence back. You know?
Exactly. It's a perfect time. And Flacco, like, he wasn't doing anything. They brought him in to hopefully bring them to a wild card berth, but he wasn't doing that. Obviously, he sucked. So it's like, all right, AR probably gives us just as good of a chance to make the wild card. And, I mean, the narrative's for him now. The narrative was against him. Like, the media narrative was against him. Now it's for him. Now that Flacco struggled. So if he can come in with some momentum, beat the Jets, you know, then you get the Lions. I'm not gonna even talk about that game. That's probably gonna be rough. But
you're looking, after that Lions game though, you should win the rest of those games.
Absolutely.
Maybe besides the Broncos.
Right? You should win these games. So it's the perfect opportunity. I'm high on Anthony Richardson, but it's not this year. I'm not gonna pretend like he's a Pro Bowl quarterback yet. He's not. But ride a top 5 rushing attack. That should be the identity of this football team. And then you let Anthony Richardson go with that, and you take the good with the bad. Like, I seriously, you have a lot good going in Indianapolis. You just gotta keep your head up. You gotta keep Anthony Richardson in there, continue to surround him with a tremendous deal of talent, and just let him ride.
You can't bury him this season.
Exactly.
Though. Like if he doesn't get it done, you can't.
You can't, and that's kind of what they did.
Confidence.
That's kind of what they did.
Yeah, because you gotta end the season on and be like, all right, there were some good things. Things didn't work out early in the season, but you know what? He started those last 6 games, and you know what? We got these things that went well for us, and we can build off that. And that's all you can look for.
Exactly. Build off the positives.
You don't need to make the playoffs with the second-year quarterback.
You don't. And I don't know why they think that. I'm sure it's Jim Irsay getting a little greedy, but, come on, dude. Yeah. Get a grip. I swear
obviously it would be nice to make the playoffs.
Absolutely.
Everybody gets a big bonus and everything, But
absolutely, but you got to look at the bigger picture. Especially when you were the guy who drafted AR. You got to know what you're drafting.
Yeah.
You might take another year, but you got to play your cards right.
All right, one more NFL thing.
Facts. And real quick, Caleb Williams, real quick, he had those 3 weeks before the bye. Against the Rams, he had a 74% completion percentage, 106 passer rating, didn't turn the ball over, had an even better game against the Panthers, got the deep ball that was struggling going, then balled against the Jaguars, 4 touchdowns. Then you go into the bye, you come out, and you look awful 3 games in a row. At least he hasn't turned the ball over, at least. If you're looking anything positive.
Were all those games at home he did well at?
I
think it were.
They were.
Wow.
They were. And all these,
Wow, and all these games he's struggling on the road.
Except the Pats. They brought that back home and still couldn't get it going. So, very interesting. So,
that's concerning.
I know.
So,
it really is.
I don't know. If he came back and they ran up against the Pats, be like, okay.
Facts.
Be like, maybe he's just a hometown kind of player. I don't know.
But no. It's not looking good.
All right. Bills-Chiefs next week. Do the Chiefs lose their first game?
No, I can't bet on them not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
It's in Buffalo.
I'm gonna stay away from this game monetarily, but it is in Buffalo. Allen can beat the Chiefs in the regular season, especially when he's not predicted to. But I can't go against the Chiefs right now. They're 9-0. They're 9-0. They win close games. They always find a way to win. That's the thing about them. So it puts them against ahead of the Ravens and the Bills. They win the games, and the Bills and the Ravens don't win the big games. The Chiefs do. They're always the one that wins them.
Kincaid and Cooper, questionable going into next week. So I feel like this is Buffalo's spot. I feel like this is Buffalo. This is their chance.
It is
to stand up to Mahomes, but I feel like it's just not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. I think that's more next year. I'm not making my Bills prediction for next year, but I think that's more of a next year thing. I think. They're banged up right now. The defense isn't looking the greatest. Although they are finding success and they are looking good.
How isn't this Sunday Night Football, dude?
Right? Why isn't it?
Texans, Cowboys, Sunday Night Football.
That's Monday night. Bengals, Chargers is Sunday night. Honestly, it could be worse. It could be worse. But why is Bills Chiefs not on it?
Yeah. This is the...
Maybe they know everybody's going to watch Sunday night anyway. They're like, all right, let's get everybody to watch the 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. Baffles me. Really baffles me. This is a game that needs to be on Sunday Night Football. I feel like we don't get Bills Chiefs on Sunday Night Football anymore. It's really disappointing.
This is like cinema,
right? It's peak football, but I don't think it's the Bills' year to beat the Chiefs. Maybe in the regular season it happens, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't foresee this game being a blowout. No, this is going to be a close game.
Great game.
Yeah.
But you never know what's going to happen. It's the regular season, but Chiefs. I'm not betting against them.
It's hard to.
Yeah, honestly. And then anything else for the NFL? I don't think so.
Not really. I'm kind of.
I think we got it all. Bet. Let's roll with some NBA.
Yeah.
All right. So right now the Cavs.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's where we have to start.
The Cleveland Cavaliers, 12-0. 6-0 home, 6-0 away. Like there's not a hole in this team right now. Not a hole in this team.
Yeah.
12 games.
I want to say they're like 11-2 against the spread, like betting spread too. Like that's insane. Like
Insane.
these boys just get it done, and it's a combination of everyone, whether it's Garland, Mobley, Allen, or Mitchell. Obviously they rely on Mitchell, but Garland's been stepping up, man.
Garland's been.
There was a game, I forget, last week. He absolutely took over. He and like it was the first time I've ever seen like Mitchell deferring to Garland in the clutch. It's like, oh, Garland, this is all you. Like, I don't know.
You got it, bro.
That's like, and he was cooking, and I was like, I forget. It might have been this game versus the Bucks, I want to say. But
I think so.
yeah, he had 40 points.
Oh.
Yeah, he had
Okay,
40
GG.
points versus the Bucks, and it was just like, I don't know. That was the first time watching like them go against Giannis, and I was just like, damn. And they were on an extended road trip, and I just like, I don't know. These guys are playing like the best team in the NBA right now. I would say that the Thunder were close behind them, but with Chet injured now, it's going to be a little different.
Brutal injury, but I mean they'll bounce back. They'll be good.
Yeah.
Darius Garland right now is 53% from the field, 46% from three, 91% from the free throw line, 7 assists, 20 points. He's only turning the ball over 2.5 times a game. That dude is balling right now. Donovan Mitchell, I mean, so is he. He's averaging 24, shooting 47 and 41%, respectively. Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, they're doing their thing in the front court.
Mobley's giving you 18 points, 9 rebounds, and then they got guys who come in off the bench. Like, even if one of those guys or two of those guys are having trouble scoring, like Karis LeVert, that guy can give you 20 any night.
He can come right off the bench for you.
Gorgie Niang, I know he's a goofy-looking guy and he's not very athletic, but hey, that guy, they have guys who can just come in and get it done. Isaac Okoro's been strangely a good shooter this year for some reason.
That's insane because he can be a really good defender. If he can shoot the ball, that's a step up.
So and then they got Strus coming back in like a few weeks. I don't know exactly when, but
dude, Okoro's 48% from three.
Yeah, like
that's insane.
Dude, I was watching the game the other night. He hit like 3 threes, and I was just like,
that's the guy.
I was like, what? When this guy like he's drafted as like a raw like athletic guy.
Yeah, I mean now this is the 3-and-D guy that you drafted 5th overall.
I know. That guy was so underwhelming for a long time. People kind of wrote him off, but I feel like even though he's not putting up a ton of points, he knows his he knows his role.
Yeah.
He plays his role well, 3-and-D.
It's all about that 3-point shot though, because he's been a phenomenal defender throughout his career, athletic, but can't shoot the 3 like he needs to. And now, I mean, 48% from 3 for the season. You can't argue with that through 12 games. Like that should continue. That's huge for the Cavs.
And for a guy coming off the bench to do that, we'll take that.
You get him, you get LeVert, Ty Jerome, Dean Wade. Like, who knows where this team could go? I think maybe you add another piece.
Yeah, that's
compete with Boston. Who knows?
They're the biggest threat to the Celtics in the East.
How big of a threat?
Now.
How big of a threat do you think they are? Because I agree they are the biggest threat. How big of a threat are they? Like, are they going to be able to match up with us in the playoffs, or is it too early to say?
I'd say if the Celtics are fully healthy, they should win in 5 or 6 games. But if you're still missing Porzingis, playing those 2 big guys down there, that would be a problem.
It would absolutely be a problem.
Yeah, I think so.
Huh. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, we have the guards to guard him. But I just like Mitchell, man. I don't like that. That guy's a competitor. You know?
He is.
Like I just
He's
like
him.
when like you're in a back and forth game. I just don't like trading buckets with that guy because I feel like he can outduel you. You know?
Right. Absolutely. And obviously we match up better as Boston. Like, we can guard their guards. They probably can't guard us.
Like, do you want Jason Tatum going shot for shot with Donovan
No,
Mitchell?
you don't.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, sure, we match up well, but I mean, they have that dog. That Jaylen Brown. We're a great team, but Donovan Mitchell going. We don't have that guy that goes bucket for bucket like that late in the big game. Like, Donovan Mitchell,
as we saw last night with the Celtics losing to the Hawks.
Absolutely. And we had a few games in that playoff series. We won in 5, but that one game that they beat us, I mean, that was scary. And then there was a few other scary moments in that series where, like, wow, Donovan Mitchell's that guy. And that was Darius Garland with a broken jaw. Like, that's going to affect the way you play basketball.
Yeah.
Mobley's only better. You know, they're only more all familiar with each other. Okoro's only getting better. Like, this team should win 2 games against us this season, considering our mentality isn't all there. We lost to the Hawks last night.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about that at all, you got anything to say about that game?
Not really. You can't put too much stock into that, but that's just a disappointing game because I haven't seen the Celtics play with. I know Jalen had like 30-something points and D.Y. played great. D.Y. was really the only one who played really, really good, I
Common
thought.
theme.
But Tatum, like, just the effort, was not there.
Mm-mm.
Like, the rebounding, the team got out-rebounded, I want to say, about, like, 15, 20 rebounds. Like,
can't do that.
At the end of the game, they literally there were 3 guys standing there. They let, I think, Dyson Daniels, like, grab a rebound and kick it out. And it was just like, what do we... It looked like watching a Celtics game, like, 3 years ago. Like,
Absolutely.
Like, before. Like,
exactly. That's not a form... Like... Not getting severely out-rebounded and all that is not a formula to win basketball games. Like, you can be as talented as you want, but if you're not going to show up, play the physical basketball that you need to, go get rebounds, go dive on the floor. Like, I mean, you can be as talented as you want, but you're not going to win the big games. You might lose some of the small games like this. Like, it's not a formula for winning successful basketball.
I just didn't think Tatum was, like, there, locked in.
No.
Like, mentally or defensively, like, he looked like he wanted to be somewhere else.
Right.
And I tweeted that,
really?
On my Twitter. I was like, Tatum did not want to be there tonight.
And at that point, just keep him on the bench.
It was almost like a flashback. Like I said it already 2 years ago. Jalen's still missing free throws. Like, you can't put too much stock into it. But
you can't. But at the same time, I mean, it leaves you wondering, like, come on, just stay off the floor if you don't want to be there. Like, go rest. Go stay healthy. If you're injured, don't play.
Yeah, exactly. Like that Tatum stuff, that was annoying.
Don't go out there and put out a bad performance mentally, specifically. Like, because that's just embarrassing. That's just a bad look for you, bad morale for the team. Stay healthy. Please, stay healthy and rest up for the playoffs so you don't, shoot us out of games.
Yeah.
So that's my opinion on it. But like you said, you can't read too much into it. It's just a regular season game against the Hawks early in the season at the end of the day. But we got the Nets tonight. The Nets have been a surprising team, 5-6.
Yeah.
I think they're probably going to fall off into mediocrity. They're going to be mediocre, but they're going to fall off, probably break off into the bottom of the standings at one point.
Yeah, they'll regress a little bit.
They don't have the talent not to. I really don't think so.
Ben Simmons is actually playing, which is surprising.
Hey, I mean, like, you never know. That dude was so good. I'm always, like, on the side, kind of, like, not defending him, but, like, keeping the window open for him to be good again. It's tough. You can't... I have no...
He averages more assists than rebounds.
Yeah, like, dude, 12 assists? Like...
No, he's got 7 assists a game, and he averages 6 points a game. Like, that's so funny.
Right? Like, what? Like, dude... He's got a mental... He's got something mental.
Yeah, that team's going to regress a little.
Absolutely.
I'd expect... I don't know. I was gonna say after last night though, like Atlanta. I feel like Atlanta's will regress a little. Like,
you think?
I'm just shocked Milwaukee's as bad as they are. Like, looking at the standings here,
so bad. It's embarrassing. I mean,
3-8, and this is like it's not even like Giannis is playing bad. Like Giannis, he's got 30 points a game, 12 rebounds a game, 5.5 assists. Like, I don't know what more you could ask really from him.
Right.
Then you got Dame, like, he's giving you 26 points still, like 6 assists. I don't know what, like, they're gonna have to blow that. They're gonna have to blow it up. Yeah.
You have to trade Dame. Where could Dame go though? That's the thing.
I don't know. Like, I don't know who has the money. Like, who has the money to be paying Damian Lillard? Like, Miami, I don't know if, like, what Miami.
Like, do they want to do that?
Yeah, like Tyler Hero for Damian Lillard. I don't know. I don't know.
No. It's a tough situation.
Yeah,
And Giannis, I mean, he's probably going to want out. I mean, at this point,
you might have to.
You're 3-8. Dame's not playing the next game with a concussion.
Like I don't know. They don't have any. They haven't drafted well or anything to help their cause at all.
Right.
Their bench players right now are all just NBA role player veterans journeyman Torian Prince.
Extremely generic role players that aren't really good role players.
Yeah.
Derek White's a role player. There's levels to role players. You can't throw out Torian Prince to match Derek White.
No.
Especially in 2024. Come on. Chris Middleton at this point, what's he giving you?
They got all these young guys on the team, Marjon Beauchamp, Andre Jackson, AJ Johnson.
Beauchamp's been on the team for a millennium and he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, these
hasn't
guys,
developed into anything.
That team.
At this point, Bobby Portis, how great is he?
That team is gross.
24% from 3 this season. Bobby Portis has completely fallen off. Everybody's fallen off. Chris Middleton's fallen off. Dame and Giannis aren't getting better.
That team has stayed the exact same.
Yeah.
Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis.
Just gotten worse.
Yeah.
Just gotten worse and older.
And older.
So, yeah, they got their championship. They got the championship.
Another team right behind them there is actually below them in the standings is the Philadelphia 76ers, sitting at 2-8. Your Philadelphia 76ers.
Lost one to the Knicks last night.
Yeah, that Embiid just served his suspension. Sorry, Embiid. Yeah, that's I don't know. That's another team that they're stuck with their MVP, right?
Yeah.
MVP player. So
yeah. He's not. He's an MVP, but is he MVP value? Because you're not getting him in the playoffs. You're not getting him healthy.
Dude, no. This guy is he does not play, and when he does play, he plays soft. He doesn't play strong. Yeah. I love Maxey though. Maxey's awesome.
Oh yeah, you can't argue with that guy. That guy's a beast.
And I don't know. They just seem
they've got the 28th ranked offensive rating in the league.
They almost seem like the Bucks soon.
Yeah.
They got.
It's
Kelly.
Just at the end of the day, Philly's injured. Milwaukee isn't. So I mean.
Yeah, it's not.
But you're 2-8. You're 2-8.
Yeah, I'm just saying the rest of these guys though they should be able to pick up, like Paul George. He's only played 5 games. I don't know.
But I don't know. Right now, this Eastern Conference is looking like a 2-man race at this point. The Magic, they don't even play great defense. They're 6-6. I mean, how good are they?
The Magic play awesome defense. Yeah, they do. I don't know. Maybe on your stats there.
Right now. At
least at home, the Magic.
Oh, my bad. They don't play great offense. Yeah, they're a top 3 defensive team in basketball.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, yo. It's the reverse.
Yeah, no, I'm tripping. Yeah, my bad. I don't know why it was like that. I think I had it reversed. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, it stinks that Paulo's out.
Yeah, no, that's brutal. I'm not even gonna talk too much about the Magic because he's out. You can't judge him too much.
Yeah, how many guys are injured though? We got Paulo injured. We got all these guys banged up and injured.
Right.
So
it's tough. The Eastern Conference is looking like the Cavs, the Celtics, and then everybody else. The Knicks, I mean, they've been good offensively, but defensively they haven't. The Knicks are right now a top 10 offensive team, top 4. But defensively, they are the 19th ranked. And then the Nuggets, too. The Nuggets are really bad defensively, but they're really good offensively.
This is the point in this season where I feel like teams start to separate themselves. Because I remember there was a few years ago, there was a Charlotte Hornets team that was 12-2. And they were second in the East. And this was in 2017, 2018. This is when they had nobody on their team. And it's just
it's a meaningless. It's a meaningless 12-2.
Yeah.
Not to say the Cavs are meaningless, because they are not. They are balling. But, remember the Celtics in 2018, they went 10-10. You don't really know what a team is yet until you get past the 20-game mark.
Yeah. All I'm going to say, since we have to wrap up, all I'm going to say is the the Eastern Conference is so much worse than the West.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not even close.
But yeah, absolutely. And before we get out of here, do you want to, take a few teams out of each conference that are like legit,
Yeah.
and then the rest aren't? So in the East, it's the Celtics and the Cavs. Do you want to put anybody else in there?
I would put. I want to be optimistic about Indiana again, and I want to be optimistic about Orlando with a healthy Paolo. And I should be about New York, but I really am not sold on them. And then in the West, you got OKC. You can be excited about. Can never count out Jokic. A sneaky team I like is the Houston Rockets.
Okay.
I think Phoenix will regress a little.
Okay.
And then Golden State, even though they keep winning, I don't know.
Okay.
I gotta see it a little longer.
But all right, I got you. Before we get out of here, yeah, I like the Celtics and the Cavs, and then the Knicks. I love their offense, but their defense, it's really bad, and it's not going to work out in the playoffs. In the West, I like the Warriors. As long as in 2022, he didn't have a co-star. Curry didn't. So as long as you can play really top 5 defense in the NBA, and shoot the way they're shooting, I can't rule them out. I can't. The Suns, defensively, what's the ceiling for them with their defense? I don't think it's very high, but they're going to be a really good team. Their offense provides a floor as long as you can figure out that dynamic, that trio. And who else you got next to them? The Nuggets, their defense hasn't been good. Their offense has. I don't believe in them because of their depth, though. The Grizzlies have been good. I've liked the Grizzlies, both sides of the basketball.
What about the Lake Show?
I like them. I like them.
Yeah.
I still think they're a piece away. I think you either need another star or you need another really good player. You have a bunch of guys who don't play good defense next to LeBron and AD, and that doesn't excite me. Yeah. I'm not going to lie. You got to play really good defense. Most of these teams in the West, it's if you can have a top 5 defense, I think you can be really, 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 really good.
Yeah.
Along with the Thunder. I think the Thunder are the best team in the West. The Timberwolves are still holding on to hope because they have so many pieces. But yeah.
We need Chet back.
Need Chet back for the good of basketball.
Need him for the playoffs.
Come on, get him back here. But yeah, I think that pretty much does it. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, we don't have much time, but I think,
Merrimack basketball tonight. Let's give a shout out to them.
Don't be surprised when we beat VCU. Watch out. 16.5 point dogs. Come on, don't sleep on us.
Give us that.
Yeah,
give us that. I'm taking that plus.
That is come on. I'm pretty sure I viewed I was so we write for the school newspaper and I have to when I was looking at all the stats we cover the spread against Power 5 schools in 80% of games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, give me that.
Give me the 16.5 point spread.
Give me Bud Clark's over in points, whatever it is. Give me that plus 16.
Might sprinkle 1,000, plus 1,000 on the money line.
Oh.
Let's go.
Plus 1,000?
Just a little sprinkle.
Yeah, just a little.
5 to win,
you got it.
5 to win whatever.
You got it.
Yeah.
All right, but thank you everybody for listening. We'll be back next Wednesday. Peace.